Fuck that. All right, we about to try this again. I keep saying it ain't no short in my cord, then my shit be acting funny. I don't know what's going on. Give me a second. I gotta get this make sure my shit public on all platforms and whatnot. Okay, my sound working. So we ain't got no questions about that. Edit privacy. I don't know why it's only me. Let me change that. So y'all can go ahead and come in and comment. Give me 1 second for the Facebook. Okay. Privacy, public. Got it. We about to go in now. I'm about to try not to do too much moving. I'm about to sit real still. You know. Now y'all can comment on all platforms. Drop a 369 in the chat if you can hear me. This is like my third time trying to stream this podcast to you. And again, let me just go ahead and go straight in, man, because it's been like 45 minutes in the making just to get this info to y'all. The truth about UFOs in the Bible and the Quran, okay? Donate to the Cash App, Astral Vibe Tribe. I don't care if it's only a buck, man. Send me a hot something, man. Send me a hot something right now. I'm gonna give you a shout out at all of that, baby. And I'm your host with the most, A1, man. You already know what I'm doing. Shout out Donis, man. He already tapped in. I know you already know about a lot of this information that I'm about to touch on today. You know, hopefully I get something new for you or something that spark your interest and maybe want to dive back into the topic. But yeah, we going straight into the UFOs in the Bible, man. They try to act like they don't see this shit. Like we don't know what the definition of a UFO is or something. Like it's a lot of stuff, you know, the pastors just skip around in the Bible when you go to church. Same thing when you go to these mosques, you know, even these synagogues, you know. They bounce around, you know, hit you with a little song and dance, sends you up out the door with your little motivation. But they not really, you know, teaching you about the word. So let's get straight into it, man. Sirius Star, the Dogon legend. And I know y'all probably thinking, what the fuck does this have to do with the Bible? The Sirius, the Dogon. The Dogon ain't Christians. Um, well, they are being converted. Some of them, you know, we're about to get into that too. But you know, a lot of y'all don't know that a lot of this shit ties into the mythology that y'all follow today called Christianity. And again, I'm always going to address that and with the term mythology because that's what it is. It's modern day European mythology. And that's what I call it. You can go Greco-Roman mythology, whatever. You know, it's all the same. You know, neither here nor there though. But damn, I'm shining today too. It look like it's a bright light. I ain't got no lights on. I just got the little ceiling light and the little sun coming through the window. It got me shining right now. Um, I almost forgot how to do a podcast. That's how I'm feeling. Hold on, let me hit this blunt, man. Astronomy in the Bible, and I want to get this. I'm trying. I'm trying not to rush, but I feel like I'm about to rush because my mic been fucking up so many times that I kind of just want to get this shit out. But I'm not about to do that, man. I'm gonna take my time and chop it with y'all because I'm not even explaining why any of this shit is important. Um, you know, when when the truth got usurped, we're gonna get into all of it. I'm gonna show y'all when the truth got usurped, why they did what they did, why they gave you these lies, you know, why it's important to go and unlearn the bullshit they done taught you and start relearning everything all over because you know your perspective creates your reality. So based on how you view the world and history, you know, that dictates how you move in on this realm right now, and in turn dictates your future. So, you know, we want to move with proper knowledge and executing excellence in everything we do. You know, that's one of my big sayings. You know, we want to operate with knowledge and executing excellence with everything we do. You know what I'm saying? That's how we moving. You know, we don't guess. Either I know or I don't know. That's another one of my sayings. Either I know or I don't know. I'm not gonna guess. We can figure it out together. You know what I'm saying? If I don't know the answer, But what I'm not about to do is guess and just be out here misleading people. But that's neither here nor there. Let's get straight into this, man. This is Amos 5:8. If you have your Bibles, go ahead and pull out your Bibles right now. You see, I left a little meat and potatoes before and after because people love that for context. But let's get straight into it. Seek him that maketh the seven stars and Orion, and turneth the shadow of death into the morning, and maketh the day dark and night, that calleth for the waters of the sea and poureth them out onto the face of the earth. The Lord is his name. So when you read something like that, you can't just read past that. You know, uh, we need to see what are the seven stars of Orion. Like, what are they talking about? You know, who is that? And if you start going into the ancient history and looking up the seven stars of Orion, it's a constellation. Okay, somebody just hit my phone. It's a constellation. Okay, that's what we need to understand. And I keep telling you guys that the Bible is an astrological personification, and y'all be looking at me like I'm crazy, like y'all can't understand what I be talking about. The Bible is a complete astrological personification in every sense of the word. They say that there's seven layers of understanding when it comes to reading the knowledge, and to take it literal is like the base level. You know what I'm saying? That's why it was sealed with seven seals. You see the number seven prominent throughout the mythology, all through the Bible, and all through a lot of different cultures, mythologies as well. So, with that being said, this is who they're talking about when they say, "Seek of him that make him the seven stars in Orion." This is Orion. This is the constellation of Orion. Okay, and we're about to break down and get into what this means. This constellation was known as the constellation of Asar or Sahu, and we're going to get into how all of this correlates to what we're reading today. Like, people are still confused. Like, okay, so what? What does that mean? Um, well, what they're doing, let me pretty much show you. They stole your shit and they're giving it back to you. That's what's going on. Okay, they stole your shit and they're giving it back to you. Okay, and again, we have to remember these are the same. This is the same constellation that deals with the three kings following the sunrise on December 25th, the winter solstice. So you see these same three dots right here and how they're aligned. Yeah, this is the same three kings that follows the birth of the sun on December 25th. And this is why we have these Christmas holidays and all these holidays based around this winter solstice. A lot of people don't realize that all of this shit is completely astrological. There's a reason that these holidays are on these days. It's not by accident. It's not because that's the day Jesus was born. Because if you actually do a historicity, I shouldn't even use that word in reference to historicity. Yeah, the three wise men. And this is completely, I took a little left turn on this just to highlight this because this doesn't have anything to do with specifically the Dogon tribe. They have a different mythology surrounding this Orion constellation. But I definitely wanted to highlight how the three wise men are a part of this constellation. And this constellation is something that's talked about and is prevalent throughout the Bible, the Torah, the Quran, all of that. No matter which one you pick up, you subscribe to this, these same lies is pretty much what's going on. No matter which one of these religious texts you pick up, you're subscribing to some watered down synthesis of what your ancestors were already doing. Um, Usurped with the outside savior. You feel me? Given to you by the people who enslaved you, of course. You can't leave that out. But again, yeah, and you can see how these stars actually line up over the pyramids. Everything we did down here was in alignment with the heavens, as above, so below. Um, and if you know anything about that science, we're going to delve a little bit deeper into why they did it specifically like that. And, how this shit got stolen from your ass, man, your peoples. And it's time for you to take your knowledge back and reclaim your knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Let's keep it moving. Do I gotta go forward or backwards? Where was I at? Okay, yeah, okay. So before I get to breaking down how this whole constellation ties into this passage, Amos 5:8 right here, what I want to do is just talk about the Dogon people. I want to give you a little background on them. We can't leave that out, okay? The Dogon are an ethnic group of indigenous to or an ethnic group indigenous to the Central Plateau region of Mali in West Africa, south of the Niger Bend, near the city of Bandiagra, and in Burkina Faso. The population numbers are between 400,000 and 800,000. And excuse me if I butchered them names, them cities right there. It sounded good though, didn't it? Okay. The population numbers between 400,000 and 800,000. They speak the Dogon languages, which are considered to constitute an independent branch of the Niger Congo language family, meaning that they are not closely related to any other languages. Okay, so they speak an ancient tongue, is pretty much what they're trying to tell you. Um, as I was studying, I've come to see that there are a lot of different dialects of it, and I'm not sure how that translates to if it's like accent or if it's actual linguistic differences where like Spanish in Brazil isn't necessarily the same as Spanish in Mexico. um, so let's keep it moving. The Dogon are best known for their religious traditions, their masks, wooden sculptures, and their architecture. Since the 20th century, there have been significant changes in the social organization, material, culture, and beliefs of the Dogon, in part because Dogon country is one of Mali's major tourist attractions. And definitely what I think they left out, them being most famous for, is their astrological knowledge. Their knowledge of astronomy and the systems of planet and planetary alignments. That's what they're most famous for. How they would leave that out, I have no clue. Let me sit up straight. And again, I shouldn't be doing too much moving for this mic cut out on me. I'm glad this shit's still working. Um, they're most famous for their astrological um, knowledge. That's what put them on the map for real. Like, how did they know this shit? That they know is what they're trying to figure out. You know, these are primitive people. They've been, segregated from the rest of society, so to speak. That's why their culture remains intact, even though it's being encroached upon right now by the different religious factions in the area. The Christians and the Muslims. Um, but yeah, let me go ahead and get straight into the shit one time. Boom, and let me show you this right here. You see this little red spot down here? That's where Mali is in Africa. So you can see the region that they're located in. And we're going to get into the astrological knowledge that they have, how it ties into Amos 5:8, and what's really going on here. Let me read this to you just because it's here. In the Mopti region of Mali, a group of people numbering less than let me stop with the accent. In the Mopti region of Mali, a group of people numbering less than a million retain a unique culture and architectural heritage which they have enjoyed for hundreds of years. To outsiders, their way of life and certainly their buildings seem odd, bordering perhaps on the bizarre. Yet for the Dogon, isolated on their plateau, society and architecture evolve into a unique way of life. And they stay like in these mountains for real. They've built homes inside of these little huts that you see down here. I don't know if you can see them at the bottom. You see a bunch of little dark pyramid shaped things. But go ahead and look up how they live because it's actually, they're in tune with nature for real. They're still in tune. And we say that they're primitive, but they look at us and say we're fucked up, that we're not in tune and in harmony with the universe. So again, let me read this passage to you to even show you why we're speaking about the Dogon, because I haven't even dropped the bomb on you yet. You feel me? I haven't dropped the bomb on you yet. I'm about to drop the bomb on you. Seek him that maketh the seven stars of Orion. Okay, this is the seven stars of Orion. It makes up the constellation Sahu, also known as Asar to our ancient people. The Greeks came in, called it the constellation of Orion. They actually even changed the picture to some dude holding, a bow and arrow. Neither here nor there. We're not going to acknowledge none of that. but this is what they were talking about. So we need to seek Asar is who they're saying. And let's get straight into it. Another thing I wanted to show you, anytime you see those wise men, anytime you see those wise men, you see how the three stars right here in Orion's belt, they're offset one, two, three, a little bit higher than the other. That's why when you see the picture of the three wise men, anytime, in any Christmas graphics, anything like that, there's always one that's really short, and these two are just a little offset. Um, and once you get woke, you start to recognize the symbolism. Anytime you're looking at any three wise men picture, they stole your shit and trying to give it back to you and put it in your face, but they know that you're not gonna do the knowledge and do the history, so that way you can recognize where this shit came from. You feel me? Let me pull my screen back up. They know that you're not gonna do the history. They know that you're not gonna do the research. They know that you're not about to look this shit up. So they know they could just go ahead, steal your shit, give it right back to you. You know, who's gonna be the wiser? You feel me? Who's the wiser? They the wiser because they the ones that's actually studying this shit. I look geek as fuck right now. But yeah, they took it over here on the right is what they trying to do. You see them on the yellow picture with the sand. They took your stuff from over here and trying to spit it back to you. You dig? And again, you got to be able to recognize the symbolism, man. The more you know, the more you grow, and you'll be able to spot the lies from the truth. You know what I'm saying? Like same thing here. They got the one small, two offset. You feel me? Same thing here. Just it's all symbolism. That's the three kings symbolism. Okay, let's get into the Dogon tribe. Today, at least 35% of the Dogon practice Islam, another 10% practice Christianity. Dogon society is organized by patrilineal kinship system. Each Dogon village or enlarged family is headed by one male elder. Okay, you know what? I'm not about to get too much into the history of them. Y'all could look them up on your own because this is going to be a long podcast if I really get to doing all of that. What we're going to focus on is these star systems. And exactly what they mean. Okay. There was a reason I pulled this up though. There was something dope at the bottom. Okay, here we go. The problem of twin bursts versus single bursts. This is what paragraph down am I? One, two. Okay, I'm on the third paragraph down. If you're reading along, the problem with twin bursts versus single bursts, or androgyny versus single sex beings, was said to contribute to a disorder at the beginning of time. This theme was fundamental to the Dogon religion. Okay, let me break that down for the hood niggas in the back who might not have understood what androgyny and all of these terms meant. Pretty much what they're saying is there were hermaphrodites back in the day. Anytime like you see um pictures of like Shiva, where it was a male and a female deity that represented the male and the female energy. It wasn't no homosexual stuff like people be trying to make it. This was just basic symbolism. You got to be able to look at it for the symbolism. You know what I'm saying? Um, and this whole world runs off male and female energy. It's duality. You can't have light without the dark. There's duality in everything we do. And that's the basis of that. You know what I'm saying? So that's just what they're saying in that sentence. So the problem with twin births versus single births, or androgyny versus single sex beings, was said to contribute to a disorder at the beginning of time. This thing was fundamental to the Dogon religion. The jackal was alone from birth, said Ogo Tameli, and because of this, he did more things than can be told. Dogon males were primarily associated with the single sex male jackal and the Suji festival, which was associated with the death on the earth. It was held once every 60 years and allegedly celebrated the white dwarf star, Sirius B. Okay. Sirius B is, let me show you this white dwarf star right here that Asar is pointing to and holding up. You see the five-pointed star right here above the hand? That's where the white dwarf star is located, called Sirius B. Okay, so that's how this whole constellation and stuff comes back to the Dogon tribe. Because right here it says, "Seek him that maketh the seven stars and Orion. His name is the Lord." Well, are they saying the Sar is the Lord? You see what I'm saying? Are they saying the people from Sirius B are the Lord? Let's get into it. Let's get into it. Let me get back where I was at. Okay. There has been extensive speculation about the origin of such astronomical knowledge. Why are they speculating? Why is there even any speculation? That's my question. These people, supposedly primitive people, have knowledge of this whole binary star system. They have knowledge of the orbit of these celestial bodies. We about to get into it all. They got all this knowledge and they still speculating how they still trying to say like some white people gave it to them. That's literally what Wikipedia is about to try to tell you. Maybe they came in contact with Europeans somewhere. They had to. Or maybe aliens came down. Maybe these people wasn't lying about what they said. Let's get more into the story. Okay. There has been extensive speculation about the origin of such astronomical knowledge. The color white was a symbol of males. The ritual language Sijiso, or language of the Siji, which was taught to male dignitaries of the Society of Masks, Awa. Okay. It's not about to get more into that right now on this page. I already read all of that. But what we need to understand is this constellation of Orion was celebrated in our times, and it had to do with resurrection because this was a time when the Nile would flood. I'm gonna get into it right here. Okay. Osiris, which would be the Greek name for Asar, would be the god of death and rebirth and the ruler of the underworld, judges the dead. The rise and fall of the Nile is believed to be the death and rebirth of Osiris. Okay. So the rise and fall of the Nile, which happened at the same time this constellation, not constellation, that this star, I mean, actually, yeah, the constellation sits out for 70 days. So, okay, and down here I have the Wikipedia. Asar. Asar may refer to Osiris, an Egyptian god, usually identified as the god of the afterlife, the underworld, and the dead. Um, and again, these people have been renamed many times over. Different cultures come in and they start calling them something different until we're completely disconnected from our old stories, and the shit's a shame. But yeah, anytime you see Osiris, go ahead and think of Sar. That's who they're talking about. It's the same thing with calling, whether you're going to call it Egypt or you're going to call it Kemet. Calling it Egypt is what the colonizers came and renamed it. So this would be something similar to the name of Asar. The Greeks, freak Greeks, we call them. Okay, when you go to the let me show you something real quick. When you go to the thing, it says Sahu. Okay, so I want you to understand, and then right here it says SPDT. Down here to by the left foot, well, that would be his right foot, but down here on the left of the picture, that's where the star Sirius is, and up here is where the star Sirius B would be. And all of this stuff is lined, the pyramids are lined up with these stars, and it's not by mistake. Trust and believe. We didn't do nothing by accident. Not that precise, not that exact. We were master mathematicians, astronomers, scientists, alchemists, and then they'll come along and try to, with their fake speculations, like, did the aliens give these people this knowledge? Like we weren't smart enough to figure this shit out ourselves. They'll do anything but tell you that we were masterful, brilliant builders, that we mastered science, that we mastered alchemy, that we mastered these sciences that, they're still diluting today. They'll dilute it and give y'all a little bit of the knowledge and hold it all for themselves. If they can't profit off of it, they don't want you to have it. And that's what we need to understand. Hold on one second. One second. I'm just checking myself out. Okay. My sound's still working. But yeah, man. Uh Shout out you if you still going down this rabbit hole with me right here. This is not even a rabbit hole though. This is just, to me, this is basic knowledge. This is something I've known for a long time. I just so happen to be bringing it forth on this podcast titled UFOs in the Bible. Um, I'm gonna cover three different topics. We about to go over the Dogon. We gonna go over. You know what? I might break this up into episodes. We're gonna go over Enoch. We're also going to go over Ezekiel's wheel for anybody out there listening. You know what I'm saying? This isn't just about the Dogon tribe today. Um, they're just one instance of, a time that something mentioned in the Bible correlates to extraterrestrials or alien beings. So, let's keep it moving. Okay, let's get back to this. Where was I at? Sa. I think that's how I'm gonna say that. Was a god in ancient Kemet, was just a god in the ancient Kemetic religion, representing a constellation that encompassed the stars of Orion and Lepus, as well as stars found in some neighboring modern constellations. Now they say that because they done took our constellations and switched them up so many times over, like about two or three times. The constellations have been renamed. They've drawn new personifications and caricatures over these stars. So I'm trying to give you an example. There's one where you're looking at it's the Great Bear, but if you go back, it's something totally different. It's not even a bear. Um, but again, you have to study astrology from all the same way you study religion, from all different backgrounds, and see what myths they had pertaining to these certain celestial bodies. All right, let's keep it moving though. Sa was a god in ancient Kemetic religion, representing a constellation that encompassed the stars in Orion and Lepus, as well as stars found in some neighboring modern constellations. His consort was Sopdet. Hope I'm saying that right. And that's the SPDT, because when you're spelling when you're speaking in metanetter, you just take the vowels out, and that's how you pronounce the word. So SPDT would be Sopdet. You see what I'm saying? Without the vowels. So that's the star Sirius. And these stars are, I'm not even gonna tell you. I'm gonna go ahead and read. Okay, where is that at? Sorry, I'm all out of whack. Okay, his consort was Sopdet, known by the ancient Greek name as Sothis. See, at least they're giving you a little bit of the game here, how they switched everything up. The goddess of the star Sirius. Sa came to be associated with more important deity known as Osiris, and Sopdet with Osiris's consort Isis. Okay, so this would be Osiris and Isis in the stars, and I had a picture of them together, like next to each other up there, but I didn't bring that into the slideshow. But that's just to show you um, why that said Sahu up top, where this originally comes from, when it was switched, who it was switched by, and yeah, the Bible's talking about this same constellation. It's talking, Osiris in them, which would be Asar is the Lord. This is literally what it's saying in Amos 5:8. So, you know, and what did the Dogon believe about Sirius B? The thing is, Sirius B, the star that Asar is holding up, the Dogon tribe believe that we came from that star. They say that, let me read it to you. They say that some lizard people or some fish people came and brought them this knowledge and the knowledge of the stars and knowledge of healing and medicine and all this. I ain't gonna say weird shit, you know, the same shit we be saying that, Jesus came and is gonna bring us. They don't say that these people is gonna come save us, but okay, why did I bring this picture up? I brought this picture up because it shows the Temple of Giza. They had, I ain't gonna say peepholes, but they had, I don't even know what these holes were used for. They say they maybe to transfer energy, but if you look through these holes, they point to different constellations. And you can also see the constellation of Osiris of Orion. We're gonna call it the constellation of Asar. You can also see the constellation of Asar that the Bible talks about in Amos 5:8 right here. You know why I brought this up? To show people that Draco is a constellation. So when we get to talking about these Draco reptilians and stuff like that, we're not just making up terms and making up names. Like, this would be the star system that these people come from. Okay. And you can even type in Draco constellation on Google, and it's going to give you in depth about all of that. Okay. People don't be making this shit up. I'm not no alien head ass nigga, but I never believed in extraterrestrials until I realized we were the extraterrestrials. We're the life that came from somewhere else. Um, Everything else lives in harmony with this planet except for us. You know what I'm saying? I see the Donna's still in here keeping up, I'm putting in that work, baby. I'm putting in that work today. Uh, I kept it light, man. I kept it light. I don't know. My energy got drained too trying to get this thing working, man. My sound was tweaking for a little bit. I'm trying not to move too much. Yeah, and Anunnaki from Xylanthia, baby. Yeah. And you know what? I still got to look more into that. Man, I'm starting to learn these constellations, and I'm just starting to study the sky. I already know what's going on down here, you know. And that's what it's funny I named my page Astral Projections, because that's they say that's the easiest way for us to travel to these other galaxies, other star systems, is to astral project to them. Versus having to die and be born again. That's a little bit harder than meditate. Doing it, I feel like that's the easy way. But yeah, let me keep it moving. Let me keep it moving. I'm just showing people that Draco is a constellation. So when we talk about Draco reptilians and the motherfuckers coming here, um, and blending in with the population, that this is who we talking about, and this is where we saying they came from. Okay, why did I bring this up? Lightweight forgot. Down here, I wanted to show you this part about religion. Okay. Only thing I want to show you on here is that, let me read this. I'm going to go to the second paragraph from the bottom. I'm going to start from there. It is often difficult to distinguish between pre Muslim practices and later practices, but Islamic law classified the Dogon and many other ethnicities of the region, Mazi, Gurma, Bobo, Busa, and Yoruba, and these are all Dogon ethnicities, as being within the non Canaan or Dar al Harb, and consequently fair game for slave raids. Okay, so the Dogon were, um, left and right. They had to keep an eye out for people trying to come kidnap them and enslave them, because they wouldn't convert to Christianity, or they wouldn't become a Muslim. So that made them fair game to be kidnapped and be sold into slavery. And we have to understand that this is what the book teaches. This is what is taught in the Bible and the Quran. So they're taught that it's okay to enslave a heathen, a kafir if you're in Islam. If you're in Christianity, it's a heathen. And they have other derogatory terms that they use for these people. They've come up with these whole terms, and they come up with the way that you can treat these people. If you're in Judaism, it's a dang, what's the word? It'll come to me in a second though, but I'm gonna come back to it. Oh, it's right on the tip of my tongue. That's crazy. But dang man, I forgot the word for in Judaism. There's a word for the people who aren't. Dang, Donis, you know it. I know you know it. What's the word that the Jewish people use for people who aren't Jewish, and they're allowed to? There's a passage where like you can sell somebody who's not Jewish bad meat, and it's okay if they're not an Israelite. Goyim, that's the word. Goyim, my man in the back got me. Yeah, Goyim. Goyim is the word. So we got Kafirs for Christians, I take that back. I'm sorry. We have heathens if you're Christians. That's the word that they use for people who don't subscribe to their religion. If you're in Islam, you have kafir. That's the word that they use for non-believer. And they also believe that you can enslave and rape and beat these people and do whatever you want to them, steal their land and all of that. And if you're in Judaism, the word is goyim. So, boom. That being said, let's keep it moving, man. Let me make this back big. Okay, I'm on this last paragraph down here at the bottom. For almost 1,000 years, the Dogon people, an ancient ethnic group of Mali, had faced religious and ethnic persecution, thorough jihads, and through jihads by dominant Muslim communities. These jihadist expeditions formed themselves to force the Dogon to abandon their traditional religious beliefs for Islam. Such jihads caused the Dogon to abandon original villages and moved up the cliffs. So that's why they were staying in them cliffs and on that mountain like that for better defense and to escape persecution, often building their dwellings in little nooks and crannies in the mountain. This shit's crazy. Shit that they got to do to hide from these religious folk, man. Religious folk done fuck the world up. This shit crazy. I mean, until you become religious like them, that shit'll be okay. No, we're not going for that. I'm not going for that. I'm not raising my baby to go for that. Man, it ain't happening, man. It ain't happening. This shit is not happening. Y'all don't even know who y'all praying to. You wouldn't even know J's. So who are y'all calling on? And see, it's things like this that we can't continue to look over. You see what I'm saying? And don't get me talking about Islam because I'll break y'all down too. That's a whole nother sun shit. Why you think you praying 5 times a day to the sun? You literally follow the sun and pray. Come on now. Everything is based on the sun. Helios Biblios. You don't even have a Quran without a Helios Biblios, the sun book, the little book of books about the sun. Let's get real, man. Let's get real. This whole trilogy is on some Harry Potter shit. And y'all need to stop trying to impose this shit on people because it's exactly, yeah, cool. And you know what? I got a whole podcast coming up on Yakub. I come with better energy to this because I'm over here. That blunt just sat me back. I don't smoke like I used to, man. But yeah, man, look, I'm not even gonna go in on Yakub, but yeah, it's a whole lot, man. Like they say, the people who have a problem living under the sun is down here bugging out. You know what I'm saying? They stolen everything from everybody. This planet gave us everything for free. They got us paying for shit. Who came up with rent? Who came up with bills? Let me leave it alone. Let me straight stick to the alien talk. I was about to go off because I got salty about how the extent that these people have to go through to preserve their culture. We have Muslim and Christian invaders trying to kidnap and enslave these people, trying to force them to convert, through physical force. Like this shit's wild. This shit's wild as fuck. Uh, and shout out them for fighting and holding on to their culture. You know what I'm saying? Astronomical beliefs. Let's get into the astronomical beliefs of the Dogon tribe, okay? This is what ties them to the Bible and the passage Amos 5:8. Okay? This is what ties them to Amos 5:8. Seek him that maketh the 7 stars of Orion and turneth the shadow of the death into the morning and maketh the day dark with night, that calleth for the waters of the sea and poureth them out upon the face of the earth. The Lord is his name. So this passage right here, Amos 5:8, directly ties to the astronomical beliefs of the Dogon tribe. And I'm about to show you why. Starting with the French anthropologist Marcel Goriali. And I wonder if I pronounced that right. I'll just be pronouncing shit any kind of way. I don't even, okay, say French. So, you know, I know a little etymology. I got to start adding that with the what's the word I'm thinking of? Damn, this gas smell good. I should roll up another one. Anyway, starting with the French anthropologist Marcel, several authors have claimed that the Dogon traditional religion incorporates details about extrasolar astronomical bodies that could not have been discerned from naked eye observation. I repeat, their religion incorporates details about extrasolar astronomical bodies that could not have been discerned from naked eye observation. So, what does that mean? It means that their knowledge is older than the telescope about shit that you can't see without a telescope. Okay? Let me make myself back big on here so y'all can hear that. They got knowledge about shit that you can't even see with the naked eye. You need a telescope to see. And these are supposed to be a primitive people. Where did they get this information? That's one of the. And I believe them. They say that the people came from Sirius B and brought them this information. Let me make it back big so you can go ahead and read along, okay? You ain't got to read along. You can just go ahead, sit back, kick your feet up. I'm going to read it all to you. I'm going to read it all to you. Okay, where was I at? The idea has entered the new age in ancient astronaut literature as evidence that extraterrestrial aliens visited Mali in the distant past. I repeat, the idea has entered the new age in ancient astronaut literature as evidence that extraterrestrial aliens visited Mali in the distant past. Because that's, what they believe. And it's like, how else would you know about Sirius B when you can't even see that star with the naked eye? You can see the three kings. You can't see Sirius B, but they know about that. And they know about its rotation. They know about how Sirius is in a, excuse me, I just burped. They know about how Sirius is in a binary with our sun. You know what? Let me just go ahead and read. When I talk about that stuff, I like to have the illustrations for you. So I'm going to just read past that and we'll come back to that. Other authors have argued that previous 20th century European visitors to the Dogon are a far more plausible source of such information and dispute whether Marcel's account accurately describes Dogon myths at all. So they literally just try to completely dismiss his myth, um, even though their myth lines up with what's actually there. Now they're trying to say that it's funny that they're trying to argue that previous 20th century European visitors may have brought the Dogon this information, but the technology wasn't there until like 1937, as we're about to find out, to even see this star. So pre 20th century, nobody could have brought them this information because they couldn't see the fucking star. Let's keep it moving. um, Other authors have argued, I already read that. From 1931 to 1956, Marcel studied the Dogon in field missions ranging from several days to 2 months in 1931, 1935, 1937, and 1938, and then annually from 1946 until 1956. In late 1946, Marcel spent a consecutive 33 days in conversations with the Dogon wise men, Ogatameli, the source of much of Marcel and Germain Dietarian's future publications. They reported that the Dogon believed that the brightest star in the night sky, Sirius, Sigitolo, or star of Sigi, has two companion stars, the Imiyolotolo and what was the other one? And Pol Tolo, or the Digitarius star and the Sorgorum star. That's what we'll call those, respectively, the first and second companions of Sirius A. We already know about Sirius A. Sirius and the Dogon system formed on one of the foci for the orbit of any tiny star, the companionate, Digitarius star. Okay, we don't need that. Doesn't matter. Well, it does matter. This part does matter right here. When the Digitaria is closest to Sirius, the star brightens. When it's furthest from Sirius, it gives off a twinkle effect that suggests to the observer several stars. The orbit cycle takes 50 years. They also claim that the Dogon appeared to know of the rings of Saturn and the moons of Jupiter. Marcel and Ditarian were puzzled by this Sudanese star system and prefaced their analysis with a disclaimer. The problem of knowing how, with no instruments at their disposal, men could know of the movements of, and certain characteristics of virtually invisible stars has not been settled nor ever posed. So that's the big question. How the fuck, with no instruments and nothing at their disposal, do they know about these celestial bodies, their orbits, and their movements? We can't just sit here and discredit these people like they crazy. And that's something that people, they love to do. We love to just go ahead. They crazy. They don't know what they talking about. They walk around with their shoes off, not knowing they grounded. They more connected than you. My sound's still working. My sound is still working. Not knowing that they grounded, they more connected than you right now. You feel me? They more tapped in the source than you. And again, I don't know how they got this knowledge, but you see right here on motherfucking Google that is telling you that this has went into record as evidence that extraterrestrial aliens visited Mali in the distant past. This is what Wikipedia is telling you. This is what Wikipedia is telling you. So when I'm talking about aliens in the Bible and passages and how this shit correlates and astrological personification, that you know, the Bible being that, don't look at me like I'm crazy. You know what I'm saying? Don't look at me like I'm crazy. Until you take a logic class, a class on ethics, and then hop your ass into some philosophy and some comparative religion. Don't look at me like I'm crazy, you know? And I promise not to try to look at you like you brainwashed. I promise to try to treat you like you ain't, even though you is. Let's do that, okay? Let's do that. Because right here, it's, again, you can just type in the Dogon tribe. It's saying that their story is documented in history and went down as evidence that extraterrestrial aliens visited Mali in the distant past. This is the first paragraph under astronomical beliefs. Okay, so when I get to talking about this alien shit in the Bible, I'm not tripping. We not tripping out here. We not tripping. It's just people that know more than you. And when you say that somebody's crazy or they don't know what they're talking about, you just showing me what you haven't read. You just showing me what information that you aren't privy to. It's cool if you got your head stuck up your ass or you got your head in a hole, or if you even want to live in your bubble, that's cool. But don't judge the people who don't want to live in those spaces. Don't judge the people who dare to take their mind and let it wander, let it ponder on, you know, all this amazing shit that we have going on. This shit's dope to me. You know what I'm saying? This shit's fascinating to me. I love to study this shit, the correlations between all the ancient mythologies and how we got here, creation, how the earth was, all that. What else am I gonna do? Sit here and watch Jerry Springer and be entertained by other people having drama and being sad? That's what's supposed to entertain me. A little Bad Girls Club, a little what else popping? I don't even know what y'all be watching, man. I can't get jiggy with none of that shit. Can't get jiggy with none of that shit. You know what I just started? Though? I just started this series, American Gods. This shit's actually pretty dope, though. I like how they got Wednesday. Wednesday's like the main character. I'm not sure how Shadow correlates. Is he supposed to be? I don't know. I'm gonna look into the symbolism of him. Um, I'm only on like episode 7. What else did I notice in there? They had, was that Papa Legba? They had the black guy come in and freed him off the boat. That was dope. There was some other symbolism though in there. I just can't think of it right now. I'm a little fried. Okay, let's keep it moving. Dogon cosmology and the Kemetic sacred science are very similar in concepts of symbolism. It's funny we just talking about symbolism. In fact, Dogon cosmology appears to be the exact cosmology of the Kemetic priesthood at Anu. Um, the Dogon know Ra as Amma, he who rests upon nothing. The universe is considered Amma's egg. Within his egg, Amma began spinning around, forming the Po seed, the black hole at the galactic core. The Po is the smallest and heaviest, densest thing that was made invisible at the center. Amma then placed, I don't need to get into all of this. Why did I bring this up? I think I just brought this up straight for the picture to show you how the Pope got this little fish head hat. And this was the same fish head type hat that the priests used to wear of the Dogon tribe. Okay. The ancient Dagon fish worship. And it's funny, if this stuff was supposed to be evil, why would you copy anything they was doing? That's what I'm trying to figure out. You wouldn't want anything you doing to look like anything they was doing if they so evil and if this shit actually came from the motherfucking devil. Yeah, Wednesday is old and it's only one season. No, I think it's like 2 or 3 seasons. It's only one season. I'm gonna be salty. I'm definitely gonna be salty if it's only one season. But yeah, why are y'all doing anything that looks like what they doing if they supposed to be evil and worshiping demons and devils? Like everything that you do, you copy everything that came before you, and then try to represent it like it's original. And shout out to people who tapped in, man, because we see straight through this. We look at the symbolism, we already know what's going on. You know, the more you know, like my man's reading Rainbow, baby. Okay, why was I about to read this to you? Boom, there was a reason I was going to read this to you. Throughout history, many civilizations were fascinated with Sirius, the dog star. This bright celestial object occupies an elevated status in various mythologies, but none paint a more intriguing picture than the Dogon tribe of West Africa. The rich culture of the Dogon people spans back more than 5,000 years, and one of their ancient legends tells the story of a race of otherworldly beings called the Nomo. According to legend, these advanced individuals visited Earth eons ago, descending from the sky in a vessel accompanied by fire and thunder. Okay, that's why I want to bring this up. Anytime you see some ancient alien type shit going on, like even when I break down Ezekiel's wheel, it's gonna be fire and thunder. You know, how would it sound if there was some spaceship entering our atmosphere from somewhere else? What would you expect? What do you see when a rocket supposedly leaves our atmosphere? You see fire and thunder. So I would expect the same thing coming back in. Even when you watch them Armageddon movies and stuff like that. Um, when you see, or Apollo 13 and stuff like that, when they're coming back into Earth orbit, there's a bunch of fire, a bunch of stuff that got to get split up and spit off. It sounds like fucking thunder. So, to somebody who doesn't know what's going on from the ground, who doesn't know what type of technology this is, it may look like fire and thunder, not knowing that this is just, you know, the elements reacting, and this is how certain things react to what's going on, maybe based on their speed, etc. At this point, we should mention where was I at? Yeah, and we're gonna see fire and thunder a lot, and that's just something I want you guys to pay attention to. Friendly in nature, they share some of their wisdom with the ancestors of the Dogon. So I guess these lizard people, this fish race that came down, they were fish on the bottom and man on top, shared their wisdom with the Dogon tribe. At this point, we should mention that the Dogon possessed no astronomical instruments with which to study the night sky. But despite this inconvenience, their legends mention that the Nomo came from a planet that orbits one of the two stars in the Sirius star system. It would have been impossible for them to reach this conclusion just by studying the star with the naked eye. In fact, astronomers only discovered Sirius' smaller companion star a good 250 years after the telescope was invented. Every 50 years, and I see that they say it like that because they don't want you to realize how close that shit is to right now. And I'm going to pull that up in a second. Every 50 years, the Dogons celebrate the passing of a Sirius cycle, a tradition they keep in honor of the Nomo. That is exactly the time it takes for Sirius B to complete an orbit around its larger, more well known companion. Okay, so this is the Dogon mythology. Okay, I was just reading that real quick to see if it was something in there I wanted to give y'all a bite of. This is the Dogon mythology. Up, I guess that means I reached the end. So, I am going to break this up into different episodes. I'm not about to give y'all all of this at one time, but I am about to show y'all a quick video though. Let me show y'all this video one time. I like having different visuals. I drop my little shit. Should I play this? I'm gonna play a little bit.
The subcommittee will come to order without objection. The chair may declare a
Right.
recess at any time. Before we get started, I want to recognize a moment of silence for the victims of the white supremacist hate crime in Buffalo, New York. The subcommittee has focused intently on that
There
threat
we
in
go.
both open and closed hearings. It is utterly devastating to.
Let me go back to the beginning just so y'all can see what this is. Okay.
The subcommittee will come to
This
order without
is.
objection. The chair may declare.
So I'm not about to play the whole thing, but y'all can go look this up on YouTube right now. This is the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. Okay. And what they are going over is UFOs. They've now made it non-taboo for you to come and speak out about any sightings or experiences that you have if you're in the armed forces, the Navy, etc. Um, and they've also identified them. They've changed the name from UFOs to unidentified aerial phenomena, so it's UAP now. Um, so yeah, start googling and YouTubing UAPs instead of UFOs to get more information and updated shit. All right, I'm gonna let this go ahead and play. And again, this is just from May 17th this year, so this is recent. If it'll play, playing this
In
video.
2017, we learned for the first time that the Department of Defense had quietly restarted a similar organization tracking what we now call unidentified aerial phenomena, or UAPs. Last year, Congress rewrote the charter for that organization, now called the Airborne Object Identification and Management Synchronization Group, or AIM-SOG for short. Today, we will bring that organization out of the shadows. This hearing and oversight work has a simple idea at its core. Unidentified aerial phenomena are a potential national security threat, and they need to be treated that way. For too long, the stigma associated.
And it's funny, they're gonna treat the aliens the same way they treat black folks. We immediately a threat. We ain't even did nothing. Y'all ain't even talk to us. And it's funny they put a brother up here to give you the information that way, not realizing that we are the extraterrestrials. We are the X-Men for real. Better look up Henrietta Lacks and the Immortal Cell. Recognize the greatness you come from. You keep it moving, man. My video keep freezing on me and shit. Got my little haircut. Why my shit freezing? Oh, that might be all, folks. But yeah, I'm gonna just show you what to go look at.
The
Oh no, it's
subcommittee
playing.
will.
Okay,
We have to convince the audience today, and most especially our military and civilian aviators, the culture has changed. That those who report UAPs will be treated as witnesses, not as kooks.
huh?
Thirdly, you need to show us,
As witnesses, not as
Congress,
kooks.
and the American public whose imaginations you have captured. You are willing to follow the facts where they lead. You know, we fear sometimes that the DOD is focused more on emphasizing what it can explain, not investigating what it can't. I'm looking for you to assure us today that all conclusions are on the table. One final note, we are mindful today that AIMSOG is not starting from scratch. This is the third version of this task force in DOD, and civil society groups like the Mutual UFO Network,
Mutual
Mr.
UFO
Corbell and
network.
others have been collecting data on this issue for years. I hope you'll explain how you can leverage the knowledge and experience of our prior work on this matter to move the AIMSOG along. The last time Congress had a hearing on UAPs was half a century ago. I hope that it does not take 50 more years for Congress to hold another, because transparency is desperately needed.
So this is the intelligence agency reaching out to Congress, like, hey, and again, go look this up. This is the House Intelligence Committee, I believe. May 17th, 2022, going over UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomenon. They changed the name from UFOs to UAPs. I'm only gonna play just a couple more seconds of this. I wanted to skip to something juicy, but
I now turn to Ranking Member Crawford.
I'm gonna do a whole podcast on this, actually, and I'm gonna just go ahead and clip the good shit for y'all, so that way we don't gotta fish through all this BS because it's a lot of boring shit in here too. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man. With that being said, man, check out my next episode on UFOs in the Bible and the Quran. On this one, we just tapped on the Dogon trial. This is my first episode back. I'm gonna try to tap back in tonight for y'all with something. I'm not sure, but I'm gonna give y'all. I might give y'all part 2 of this series. I might start something else for y'all. Um, again, don't be scared to donate to that Cash App. It's on the bottom of the screen. $Astral Vibe Tribe, man. If you find anything entertaining, enlightening, or if I brought you some new information, man, go ahead, shoot something through, man. Shoot me $1, man. It's nothing. It's all love. Keep the lights on around this joint. I just bought a new internet and all that shit just to go ahead and get y'all this shit. You feel me? All right. Love y'all. Have a good day. I'm out of here, man.